The views and opinions expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated. Reproduction or dissemination other than for the purpose of education or information without the express written permission of the Phoenix Research Institute or Nova Society Media is strictly prohibited.
I'd like to welcome everyone back to the Nova Society. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, and I'm here with my panel, Dr. Scott Gershwer and Dr. Mark Bount. Today, our panel answers more listener emails, and our question comes from Kiara, who lives in Flagstaff, Arizona. Kiara asks, recently, Rudy Giuliani was ordered to turn over assets to the election workers he defamed. Does the panel think that this will happen? And do you think more of Rudy's assets will be seized?
That's a very good question, and really thank you for that question. Yes, it will happen because a federal judge says it's going to happen. You know, usually when a federal judge does this, it will happen. Now they're looking, are they going to be taking some of his Florida property as well? Because I know the apartment in New York City is valued quite high, but that's going to be a fire sale kind of thing. I guess they said they're going to take away some of the World Series rings that he has. I guess he's being allowed to keep his grandfather's watch is about it. Probably the clothes on his back, but that's it. But yeah, that will happen. When a federal judge says, here it is, judgment done, there really is no appeals process there. I mean, there is, but it will happen. And unfortunately, these ladies will not get the full value of all of this, because you got to remember, pretty much everything Rudy has is in cooperation with other people. So those people also have to be paid off because it's of no fault or they're not part of the judgment. But yeah, it'll happen.
I think the bigger picture here is that Rudy Giuliani is a cautionary tale. Here is a guy who is a big hero after 9/11, America's mayor, was unsuccessful at running for president, and then, I don't know, somehow or another just kind of lost the thread, went in all in on Trump. The stuff that I've been reading recently about his shenanigans in Ukraine and in Russia that led up to the phone call for the first impeachment, just outrageous stuff. And that includes, by the way, the laptop. If you happen to find a laptop that belongs to a political opponent that you want to get to the authorities, don't give it to a Rudy Giuliani or the guy from Project Veritas or anything like that. Give it to like some normal human beings, because Rudy's credibility is below zero. And his actions in the aftermath of the 2020 election are frankly an embarrassment to his memory as America's mayor. His downfall is sad, but it's one that Trump supporters need to pay attention to. And I saw that there was a January 6th defendant just today, Paul Jonathan Kaloya, who wrote to the judge a note. What I did was beyond ignorant. At first, I blamed Donald Trump. Getting caught up in the crowd was shameful, but now I must accept complete responsibility for my actions. I don't know what it is about the charisma that Trump has for some people, but they seem to lose their minds. And Rudy Giuliani lost his mind. And he's paying a price for it. And I hope that Shay and Ruby have a big party up there on East 66th Street at his penthouse apartment. And I would certainly go if I'm invited.
Yeah, it is a cautionary tale. And I think that is the one thing to take out of this. It is surprising that all the minions are paying the price, the people that went there on January 6th, and they're all paying the price rightfully. But the instigator of this still remains beyond the clutches of the law. And that's a shame. But if you think, and we've said this so many times, if you think that Trump is going to elevate you in any way from whatever grievance that you have, understand this, he is not. And just look at all the people, all the lives that he has destroyed. And also, take a look at all the people that served with him, under him in his first presidency, who've come out and said, we wouldn't vote for the guy. There's the excuse is, well, they're all mad because they were fired. They weren't all fired. Many of them quit for good cause because they just couldn't continue on. Everybody else can't be lying, and Trump is the only one telling the truth. When you get into that mindset, that you end up as a Rudy Giuliani, and I think that a lot of people that support him seem to have this misguided idea that a Trump election will elevate them from their whatever grievance they have. And I can say that Trump doesn't give a rat's ass about you or your grievances or anything else. All he cares about is to be elected, to have the power. So I would say get out of it. You stop drinking the Kool-Aid, get out of that mindset, and take a look at Rudy Giuliani, who even probably today is still going to sit there and say, I was doing the right thing, only because what else can he say? He can't throw himself in the mercy of the court anymore. No, great cautionary tale to anyone that supports Trump and goes all in on Trumpism.
Including, by the way, Elon Musk, who you would think has more money, so much money that he can't be ruined, but has already gone out there and repeated the lie about the Dominion voting machines and will likely face a lawsuit about that. And Elon Musk, along with some of the other techno bros out there in Silicon Valley, has really put themselves all in for Trump in a very interesting way. Musk, for example, has basically relocated to Pennsylvania now, and he's doing the ground game in Pennsylvania. And we talked here about how much money he's willing to spend on it. He says he's willing to spend $500 million if he has to. He's doing a raffle every day for $1 million. The more people you register to vote, the more raffle tickets you get, and the greater your odds of winning that $1 million. And he says it's money well spent. And when you look at the government contracts that he has, you can see why he's doing that. Both Tesla and SpaceX have won contracts of about $15 billion from the government, and that's before the kind of corruption that I think he's looking to pursue once Trump is back in office, because he looks at Trump as the PINO, the PINO, president in name only, and that all Trump wants to do is stoke his ego and make lots of money, which he'll be able to do as president. But what Elon Musk wants to do is to create an oligarchy where he and some other tech billionaires who believe that they know what's best for everybody do away with democracy altogether and run the country in their image, and probably not willing to stop with the country. He already has begun calling himself the techno king on Tesla's website, and he really seems to have some kind of delusions of grandeur that Trump is going to elevate him to this role, and he's willing to put a lot of money into it. So, as Peter Thiel once put it, I no longer believe that freedom and democracy are compatible. And he also said competition is for losers. So there's a lot of people out there who are going all in on Trump again, and we pray that they fail, and we pray that they don't lose whatever they have because they're putting it all in for Trump. But we've seen so many people be ruined by him and the association with him and what they're willing to do for him, that it's likely that they will pay some kind of price for this.
So I have a further question. If Trump winds up back in the White House, given his if he is president in name only, let's just say, and we've got Musk in there, and we've got Vance in there, the Stephen Millers and the Steve Bannons and the Kash Patels and the Curtis Yarvins and all these individuals, presumably all jostling one another, with J.D. Vance as the vice president. If Trump has to be 25th Amendmented or sidelined effectively and kept busy someplace else while someone else actually does run the country, which of these men would you anticipate would float to the top? And do you see some sort of showdown between Vance as vice president and somebody else?
No, because I think Vance is an acolyte anyway, right? Vance is an acolyte of Peter Thiel, who I'm guessing would be the person that you're thinking of, that he would be the one to rise to the top. And Elon Musk is motivated by probably more by money than anything else. I know that Elon Musk has wanted to go to Mars, and he'll be handed a blank check by Trump to go do that. Trump will declare, as Kennedy did, by the end of the decade, we're going to go to Mars. Obviously, Kennedy was talking about the moon, but to pay Elon Musk any amount of money, taxpayer money, that he possibly can to make Elon Musk happy and allow him to shoot rockets into space and land them back on Earth and all that kind of stuff that Elon Musk is almost uniquely able and willing to do, would be one thing. The more disturbing person, I think, especially after our conversation about Curtis Yarvin, is Peter Thiel, who does not believe in democracy, does not believe that capitalism and democracy are compatible, and wants to be an honest-to-God oligarch right out of 1984. Thinks that he knows best, that these guys who are so wealthy are wealthy because God has bestowed upon them some kind of gift. I mean, they're going back to being kings of yore. They are imbued by God to be these kinds of rulers and make decisions for everybody else, and nobody else ever needs to worry about it. It's the vision that we saw from the movie Network, right? The big monologue that
I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to stand it anymore.
That movie. But there's a scene in that movie where he brings Howard Beale to see the boss of the network.
Right.
And he's played by an actor whose name is escaping me right now, who I know really well, but I can't get his name. And that actor says, that you have disturbed the natural order of things. Who?
John Voight?
No, not John Voight. No, not that character from Deliverance. Ned Beatty.
Oh, Ned Beatty. Yeah.
Ned Beatty. Yeah. Ned Beatty does a monologue that, was Oscar worthy. And it's all about how the network is here to serve these oligarchs and assure people that they are being well taken care of. All their pain will be gone. All their needs will be met. Big Brother is taking care of them. And, it's a scary monologue delivered really well by the actor Ned Beatty. And that's kind of who Peter Thiel, I think, wants to be. He wants to be that character. He wants to be Big Brother. And Trump would let him, because I think Trump is just in it for the money for the most part. And we've seen that, by the way, in the first administration. Trump turned over to Leonard Leo his judges. He turned over to Paul Ryan taxation, right? Trump didn't give a rat's ass about taxes. He didn't pay him himself, so why would he care about it? But that was Paul Ryan's wet dream, was that tax law from 2017. And as soon as Paul Ryan got that and was able to celebrate it, he went away because his job was accomplished. And I'm sure there's been great rewards for him since then from the people who want to be in charge of us. And Trump will continue to do that. He'll sell out to the people who will pay him the most money. He will be president in name only. He doesn't really care about running the country. He just wants to rule it. As long as they pay him enough money and call him sir all the time, he'll be very happy with that. And he doesn't have anything to worry about. Where is he?
Thank you. Thank you both. And thank you, Chiara, for the question. And we will see you again next time on the Nova Society.
So that's all the time we have for today's episode. The Nova Society is a production of the Phoenix Research Institute. We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, the Journal of Interdisciplinary Conflict Science. The JCIS is an open journal for upcoming scholars. The JCIS is currently accepting article submissions on an ongoing basis. The JCIS is a publication of Nova Works, a scholarly depository at Nova Southeastern University. A link to the journal is in our description. We'd also like to thank our podcast partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, who is our editing partner, and Podkite, who does all of our analytics. We'd also like to thank iHeartRadio, where people get their music and podcasts, Apple iTunes, the largest source for music and podcasts on the internet, Spotify, the most popular source for the Nova Society. The Nova Society is available on all these and other quality platforms mentioned in our description. We'd also like to thank our listeners. Without you, the Nova Society would not be possible. If you have a comment, a question or would like to be a guest on the Nova Society, we can be reached at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com. Always remember, the power of society is knowledge. So for Dr. Scott Gershwer, Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, Dr. Priscilla Hobbs, and all of us here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Be well, and we hope to see you again next time.